Hello and welcome to another Q&A here on StephenVlog. It is the month of... It's the month of May.
May?
May. And the year...
The year's 2016. 2014?
2016.
Oh.
6.
With a 6.
Yes, May 2016. We've got some questions from you folks, and we're going to be answering them right now. So if you're not already strapped in, find a seatbelt, which would be weird. First question is from JsdMaNintendo. Do you think about the vlog any differently when it's caught up versus when it's behind? And the answer to that question is yes. Yes, I do. Because when vlogs are behind, a lot of my thoughts are, oh God,
there is a lot to do.
There's a lot to do. It's very uncomfortable whenever you're really far behind. Like when you're 3 months behind and you film a vlog, you have a few thoughts on your mind. The first thing is, it's going to be a long time before I get around to editing this, which means that some of the stuff I normally do when I shoot vlogs, which is like editing in my mind, what it is I'm doing, what I want to do when, is going to be gone, by the time I get to that. And the other thing, you just kind of subconsciously, I hate to say it, but it's true. I'm just going to throw it out there. You tend to make the vlogs shorter and in some ways less interesting. You just do it subconsciously because you're like, if I make complex videos, it's not going to help me catch up. So that was one of the reasons I think so many stylistic changes have come to StephenVlog recently, is because I've been in a bit of a rut because I've been so far behind that whenever I shot a vlog, it was like, I have got to do this video and I need to try and do my best to keep it, short and not make anything too crazy because it's going to add to my workload. But now that I'm caught up, it's great. It's like, I'll do whatever the heck I want. I can be creative and do all this other stuff, so there's a completely different approach, and being caught up is like a million times better. Anyway, next question is from Kuisma Haapala. I believe it's correct pronunciation. It's pretty simple. Do you like grapefruits?
I love grapefruit.
We differ on this issue. Now, grapefruits versus grapefruit juice.
Oh.
Same feelings, or is it like grapefruits are good, grapefruit juice is like God tier?
I really like eating grapefruits, but it's so much work. Because you cut it in half, and the way I was taught to eat it was to take a sharp knife and cut each segment.
Yeah.
Like, because you do this little triangle, and you cut like this side, and then you cut like this side, and then you cut the back. So you scoop it out with a spoon. Okay. And it's a lot of work.
I mean, you know how I eat grapefruits?
You don't.
I don't, because I can't get past them, man. Like, I have tried consistently, like maybe twice a year, grapefruit juice. Like, because Mount gets it. She loves this stuff.
I love it. And
I'll try it, and I just go, oh my God, how can you drink this? It's so bad. Like, it's not that it's sour, because I like sour things. It's some other thing. It's like sour and bitter and like, ugh. I can tolerate it, but it's hard.
Have you ever tried broiled grapefruit?
No.
You put it on a cookie sheet next to the broiler in the oven, and you put, it's either white sugar or brown sugar on the top, and you broil it, and it like caramelizes. I hear it's really good, but I've never had it because I like it plain. We've
also had a few viewers in the past, because we've talked about grapefruits before, because we've been vlogging for 7 years. Of course we have. There's been a few viewers that have said there's actually different types of grapefruit juice.
There's like ruby red, and then there's like white grapefruit juice.
Yeah, and like apparently one of them is not as potent
ruby red
as the other, so maybe
ruby red's very sweet.
Yeah, so maybe I should try that.
We can try that. I like both. I just prefer sour.
I'd be willing to give that a shot in the future, just because, I mean, you clearly enjoy the stuff.
Oh yeah.
I would like to enjoy it too.
See, growing up, I didn't like cereal, so I would have a grapefruit.
See, growing up, I had cereal. The next question is from Conical Conch 69, and this is a question that has been asked a lot recently in comments, and it's just, when will we be able to see Phoenix Beyond? If anyone has watched old vlogs, what year? 2010? 2010, 2011?
Yeah.
Something like that. I was working on a senior project called Phoenix Beyond. It wasn't my senior project. It was a fellow student's. They were putting together this production. It was one of the biggest productions I think SCAD has had, because they had, I think the entire team was like 50 people creating the short film. because they went to the different departments and got help doing it. They had
they had a makeup artist and
well, they had the big thing was they had production designers. They rented a warehouse, and the production designers came and built a huge set. So they had all this stuff going for it, and I was actually the editor. So I edited the short film. And ever since we did this and presented it, everyone has been like, okay, but can we see it? And it's been years, but no, you still can't see it. It is still not available. So this is, I checked the Q&A list because there's a list of questions. If you guys didn't know, it's in the description. And I was wondering, like, you know, when was the last time I answered this question? And it was like 4 years ago. So as an update, no, you still can't watch it. The reason you can't watch it is because it is the property of the director. The director, you know, created this thing. I think he wrote it. He wrote it and he directed it, and it is more or less his baby. He has all the footage, and I mean, I have the completed cuts that we had and we presented in the
SCAD Film Fest.
Yeah, for the film festival at school. So I have all that stuff, but I'm not allowed to release that. He's still playing with it, and he's still, like, from what I understand, taking it to film festivals or something like that. So as soon as I know, like, I promise you, as soon as I know, you guys will see it. I'll either make him upload it to YouTube, or I'll put it on my own channel. Something will happen and you guys will see the film. But as it stands right now, it's out of my hands and there's nothing I can do, unfortunately. Next question is from Charlie Volpe. Is there any game genre you don't like?
Horror.
Horror. Define.
Too scary.
Define horror.
Too scary. Like PT.
Too spoopy.
Too spoopy for me.
Okay. I'm going to ask you to make a distinction. PT, Resident Evil 5.
PT scarier. Don't like it.
Okay, but why?
Because it's scary and it makes me anxious.
It's scary and it's anxious. Do you feel, because this is one of the connections I have with horror games, and one of the things I've thought about, do you think that it's scarier because you are helpless? Like, in Resident Evil 5...
You have a gun.
You got guns, man. Like, and I feel like whenever I played the Amnesia titles, like, you don't have any weapons, and that helpless feeling is what draws the horror aspect out of me. Like, that's what makes me scared.
I mean, there's parts of other games, like when you have weapons, that make me anxious that I don't like. Mm-hmm. But PT's like completely... You are just forced to live this thing.
PT is such a good game. God, I wish they would do more with that. Do you think that Resident Evil 5 was scary?
No.
Or do you kind of regard it as an action game?
Action game.
Okay. That was
because it's a zombie doesn't mean it's horror to me.
Yeah, like Left 4 Dead. Left 4 Dead
Yeah.
Scary at all?
No.
No, not at all.
It was the first time playing it. Like, when you realize that witches are really terrible. Like, that was kind of like, ugh, but then once you start to figure out how to deal with them, things aren't bad.
Yeah, and on the very few occasions you can crouch walk and get very close
with
the shotgun and get the one hit kill on the witch. God, Left 4 Dead 3, just make it happen, Valve. It's a shame they can't count to 3, but if they figure it out, that's the game that I would like to have. And I guess Half-Life 3. Anyway, I never answered the question. For me, I love horror games. I think they're fine. They're fun. I like being scared, although, like, when it comes to films, I tend to tear them apart. Like, it's hard for me to watch a horror film because all that ends up happening is I think, like, how was this made? So I don't really get the fear aspect. But in games, it's different because games is like, obviously, it is a fake thing. It's not like, you know, a real thing. And I think they're very fun. For me, the game genres I don't like sports games. Unless they are some sort of extreme sports, like Tony Hawk or like a snowboarding game. On the rare occasions, they've done really interesting things with the generic sport genres, like NBA Street, which was like a 3-on-3 basketball thing, and it was just very, like, stylistically, it was very cool. It kind of reminded me of NBA Jam, which was a game I really enjoyed as a kid. But just generic college football, or, you know, college basketball. You are this guy that you watched on the TV.
Here's the year.
Yeah, like that I'm not into, but really, you know, cool, interesting. If they take a sports title and they do something weird or cool with it, I'm into that. The other thing I'm not into is racing.
I like racing games.
What racing game?
Like, even like a NASCAR game.
See,
But that's because my dad liked them and we would play together.
there's a difference. Like, I'm totally cool with
Mario Kart.
Yeah, like racing asterisk. Like Mario Kart is totally fine because there's some other element to it. There is like car combat, like that, or Twisted Metal, that kind of thing. Or Twisted Metal's not really a racing game, but that kind of thing is fine. But like Forza, no, it's just not for me. Now, I gave The Crew a chance. As many of you may have seen our 2-hour first 20, it's more like a first 120. That we did. I gave that a chance because that had an interesting thing going for it. It was not just a racing game. It was like, you can drive across the whole friggin' country. And that was interesting to me. As it turned out, the game was not very good. But the concept was neat, and that's why I gave it a shot. But otherwise, those are my two big thing is sports and racing games. I could care less. Next up is a question from Filipe Rodrigues. How different is it having full creative control, such as MalMakes, vlogs, etc., as opposed to partial creative control, teaching, Chugga's logos, Phoenix Beyond, etc., over your work as professional artists? And what do you prefer?
I feel like I have a lot of creative control over teaching, just because we don't have like a curriculum guide. Like, you know, Art 1 students need to know this and this and this. They
do for
other
like science
subjects.
And art type thing, but they don't for
science and English.
Sorry, science, English. I was going to say math.
Social studies, math.
Yeah, that kind of stuff they do.
Core subjects do, and some of the electives do. My art elective, it's either South Carolina or my county, I guess, but one or the other doesn't have an elective curriculum map for us, so we get a lot of control over it.
Yeah.
And I find it really fun to like decide like what should a student know as a freshman in art. So I think that's fun.
Okay, but
and I get to decide like, okay, well they should know their color wheel. So what kind of color wheel project can I do? Anything. We could paint it. We could do color pencil. I could talk about color pencil blending. We could even cut it out of magazines. I could have them bring in objects and put them in a color wheel.
Okay. So that was a bad example, but what is an example of an area in your life where you don't have full creative control? Maybe right now you just do. I mean, I don't always. Maybe the question should be more directed towards me.
I mean, when I've done stuff for like clients in the past, I mean, I feel like I have a lot of sway in what happens in that process. Like, you know, here are my designs for you. I think this one's really strong and this one's really strong. Yeah, but I mean, it's a lot of creative control even then.
Yeah, I mean, reading the question, to be honest, like everything that I do now has a ton of creative control. I mean, obviously with MalMakes, you can do whatever you want. I mean, you can draw whatever you want, paint whatever you want. It's totally under your control. It certainly seems, at least judging from analytics, that there's certain things that people enjoy more than others. But for the most part, you can do whatever you want. Obviously, if people have been watching vlogs in the last month, they know that I've lost my mind and gone crazy and had a lot of fun, so they know I have creative control there. One of the examples on here was Chugga's logos, and even that I would actually lump into having pretty good creative control. Emil and I have a really good thing going where at this point he more or less just trusts me to do whatever. We used to do like a pretty big back and forth type thing where like I would send him an idea and then he would give me feedback and I might come back with one or two and then he'd do, and we'd do that for like 20 times. And then he would take the one or two he liked and run it by other people. And it was a long drawn out process. And as time went on, that got fewer and fewer and fewer to the point where he just says, this is the game I'm doing. And I make him a logo. And honestly, for the last several ones, there have been no revisions because I just know kind of what he's looking for. And also he trusts me to do a good job. So those things have melted together, and for the last several logos, there have not been revisions. It's just, he'll say, this is the game I'm doing. And I will make something and I will send it to him, and he uses it. Sometimes I'll send him two versions and I'll say, you know what, I like these equally. And a lot of times I run whatever I'm doing by Mal.
Yeah.
And on occasions I'll run it by Dan, because he has a really good eye for design as well.
He does.
But otherwise I'll just send it off to Emil and it becomes the logo. So he trusts me, and I mean, I feel like I have full creative control. Obviously, you have to work within the confines of making sure that, one, you can tell it's Emil's logo, and two, you can tell what game it is, but otherwise we do pretty good. I've had the game that he's getting ready to do next, which I guess I can't say what it is, but I've had that logo done for a long time. And whenever I went to make it, like, he told me the game he was doing, and I knew what to do. And that's the way it's been lately. Is he'll say, I'm doing this game, and I'm like, I know exactly what to do. So now, coming all the way back full circle, here's a good example of a thing I don't have creative control over, and that's Phoenix Beyond. And it's been a few years now, but whenever I was editing that, it is a very different experience having a director sit next to you and work with you to create something.
You are basically the interface he has to go through to make it his thing.
Basically, yeah. That said, I feel like I had a ton of control. And a lot of times what I would do is, I mean, it's a long, drawn-out process, and he would come over every night for weeks to get this short film cut. But a lot of times what I would do is I would actually cut something myself. I would make a separate timeline and cut something myself, and he would show up, and I'd say, let me show you this and get, see what you think. So then, I'd show it to him, and he'd say, oh, wow, like, I really like that. And I remember I don't remember what it was now, but there was something major where, like, a scene completely changed. Like, we actually took something and, like, moved it, and it still worked, and it made more sense. And, everyone was really happy. There was a lot more of that I did a music video too, for Shadow Raptor, which I think has now disbanded. But I did a music video for them, and I worked with the director, and that was also a huge free-flowing thing, because you're not limited by the narrative. Like, it doesn't have to make sense. It can just be kind of whatever. And I had a lot of creative control there too. So even in those things, like, you still have some power. And I think that, I know this is becoming a longer question, but I feel like that's really important. Like, even if you are, like, if you're a creative person and you're doing a job, you still have to have some level of power. And if you're not getting it from the main thing that you're doing, you have to get it from somewhere. Like, you have to have some sort of outlet. We've been very fortunate that what we're doing has been that outlet. But, like, for me, I don't know if I could ever go back to not having that kind of control. Like, I feel like if I had to shoot a wedding, I would die. Like, seriously. Like it would be such like a strain on my soul to, like, have to shoot a wedding. And, like, I could have some level of control with that, but it would be so different from everything that I've done. Yeah. And I've had a lot of people ask me to do, like, client work for them. And for one, I just don't have time, but, like, also just being real, like, I don't want to do it. I've had, like, friends and family ask me to do stuff, and if it's something they really need done and I'm, like, the guy to do it, then I'll help them. But but I don't do that kind of stuff, like, for the money. Like, I'm not in there to get in there and, like, try to get a buck doing something I really don't want to do. Anyway, that was a long answer, but maybe that gives some insight into, like, how we think about that kind of thing. Anyway, next question is from MajorKerina. What do you consider the sweet spot for titles and metadata? How does one come up with a provocative title without becoming clickbait? What's your threshold? And basically, what's your philosophy when it comes to titles and metadata?
I think I know the answer for you.
Yeah, if you can answer this, then go for it.
Like with vlogs, like, you watch through one, you try and think of, like, what makes the most sense about what this day was about.
Sometimes, yeah.
And sometimes you're like, this one's really funny.
Sometimes, yeah. And
sometimes you're like, this is ridiculous and people will want to watch it.
Sometimes, yeah.
But I think the threshold comes when, like, if you do one over the other too much, things get weird. Especially, like, this will make people watch and it doesn't have much to do with it. Correct, actually. There are, I mean, pretty Mal answered the question. I mean, there's a few things I think about. For one, you have to understand from a creator's point of view, we have two tools to get you to watch a video, and that's it. One is the title, and one is the thumbnail. Those are the only things that we can present to you to try and get you to watch a video. And that's all we got. I mean, there's not like a preview that you're going to get or anything. You're either going to click that thing or you're not. I mean, obviously, if you're subscribed to your channel, you like the content, you're probably going to watch everything. But for anyone else that's just stopping by, maybe is subscribed but doesn't watch everything, they're looking for an interesting title or an interesting thumbnail. But you got to be careful, because you don't want to pull people into something that, you know, doesn't exist. You don't want to have a thumbnail
for something that, you know, is first off non-existent in the video, and you can't even do that anymore. Like, that's against the YouTube terms of service, thankfully, because I don't know if you guys remember, but there was a time not so long ago where every thumbnail was cleavage, and it did not matter if there was women in the video. It was just cleavage everywhere. It could be a video about boats, but it was boats with cleavage. It doesn't matter. So that's thankfully a thing of the past. But it has to be in the video, and it has to be, I mean, at least somewhat predominantly featured. You don't want something that flashes on screen to be the thumbnail, because then people that see that may be thinking, oh, I want to see whatever that is, and then, you know, it's a 7-minute video and it flashes somewhere in the middle, and they're like, oh.
It's like book titles and book covers.
Yeah. Like, it's really weird, but you have to have a sense of integrity about it. And certainly, God knows not everyone on YouTube does, but I try to. So whenever I'm creating a title or a thumbnail, I'm trying to do it with the sense of, does this accurately reflect what the video is about? And also, is it interesting? Because, I mean, I want to have integrity, but I want you to watch the video. Yeah. I mean, if I can get you to watch the video, that's good. But yeah, there's a balance between all of the things. And the other rule that we've had that I think most people figured out is that vlog titles only ever appear in all caps if the title is actually loud and or shouted in the video itself. I think most people have put that together in their heads. But if they haven't, did you not know?
No.
Wait, you didn't understand that's how we decided things are in all caps?
I didn't ever notice.
Oh. Yeah, that's actually how I decide to do that. And obviously that's at my discretion. I can leave it lowercase or not. It's no secret, if you didn't know, all like uppercase titles just get more views on YouTube, period. Like, it doesn't matter what you're watching. If the video title is in all caps, it just does better. I don't know why. It's something with the human mind, but I try not to abuse that power, and I try to use it only when it's relevant to the video itself. So I probably think about this crap way more than most people do, because most people just they'll search for something that's like, whoa, some crazy face, and then the title will just be in all caps. It'd be like, dog explodes, you know. Does the dog explode? No, but you know, that's what people type to get people to watch their videos. Anyway, next one is from Quinn Grey. How steady are your hands when you're filming? Do you add stabilization in post? And has your hand gotten steadier over the years of vlogging? I know that question is for me, but I'm really interested in what you have to say about that for you.
It's really hard with the new camera.
The new camera's heavy.
And then, like, sometimes, like, to get a good angle, I'm like, some weird thing, and I'm like,
well,
shoot.
I mean, also, to be fair, like, I'm the one that films things.
Yeah.
You film things occasionally, so I'm going to be more used to it than you
Yeah.
are. The old camera was 5 ounces. The new camera is 11. That's
And sometimes, like,
the
I'll
big
put
jump.
like my knee up, and I'll set the camera on it, so I'm a lot sturdier.
To answer the question, though, I do feel like I've gotten better about it over the years. I've also tried to get better, and it's hard, about shooting things in thirds. And the reason that you want to shoot things in thirds, because that's a film principle.
And it looks better.
It looks better. But it's really hard to do selfie style, because all the cameras I've ever used don't have the flip screen, so I can't see what I'm shooting. So I have to get really comfortable and really familiar with the camera to try and shoot myself on a third of the frame. Like, that's difficult. I've gotten pretty good at it, but not always. But I feel like I've gotten better over the years. One thing about this new camera, the ZS100, it has not as good a stabilization as the previous camera. It's good, and there is one in it, but it's not as good as the previous one. Unfortunately, there's a really good system built into it, but it's only if you're shooting in 1080p. We shoot in 4K, and then we scale down. But if you shoot in 1080p, there's like this really bizarrely good stabilization, which of course we don't get to use. So instead of using that and just shooting in a lower quality, I'm just trying to get better about making sure the camera's stable. As far as stabilization in post, we never use it. It's very rare that we ever do something like that, and it's just because, in my opinion, stabilization in post is really
funky.
Yeah, like, it either works really well or it don't work at all, and sometimes it's not worth the time waiting for the computer to render it out. Next question is from Brandon Reis. Stephen, have your parents ever been recognized by a viewer before? Yes, and I think it's actually happened more than once, but the one that I remember is the most recent. There's a guy that works at our local Chick-fil-A actually, and he watches the videos. I don't know if he's taking the journey or whatever. He's watching a lot of the content that we've released, and my mom went in for something
at Christmas time to get a gift card.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, she went in at Christmas time to get a gift card, and when she walked in, the guy that was working there was like, "You're Steven's mom," and she was like, "Yeah," and he was like, "I watched the videos," so that was really cool. Turns out he's actually a super nice guy, and we've been in multiple times with us or with
other people.
Yeah, my friends and stuff, and he's actually gotten the chance to like meet people and see people, which is neat. So he still works there, and anytime we get Chick-fil-A, we usually run into him, so that's pretty neat. I think they've talked to people maybe in the past, but I don't remember.
I think so too, but I can't remember.
I don't remember the stories. Next question is from Laura Fung. Have either of you ever had braces? If so, how long did you have them for?
You want to go first, or should I go first?
I mean, I can go first. I did have braces for a long time, actually. I got them in 5th grade, and I don't remember when I got rid of them, but I think I was like 10th or 11th grade. Like, I think I had them for like 5 or 6 years, and I hate to be like, they didn't work, but I grew a lot, like everywhere.
You had a big growth spurt.
I had a big growth spurt, and like they did so much work on my teeth and my mouth and everything, and like it just was all undone, and it was not that great. I mean, the braces probably helped a little bit, but it didn't do ultimately what they wanted to do. My teeth are still kind of wacky. I actually still have a piece of metal in my mouth. I think I've probably said that on camera before. I have a tiny little metal bar right here. It holds my 2 front teeth together, because otherwise they would presumably, drift apart or spin. I don't know. So I've had that in there for better part of 10 years or longer, probably. It's been there for a long time. But yeah, I had braces for quite a while.
I had braces from 7th to 9th or 10th grade.
Oh, so not as long.
No. And my orthodontist wanted me to have jaw surgery because I have a...
Underbite.
Underbite, thank you.
Yep.
And
I do too.
They wanted to like do the break jaw, wire shut.
Sorry, that was me illustrating underbite.
And I didn't want to have it done. I was scared of it because it's really like you're in intensive care for like 2 or 3 days. Like your jaw is wired shut, and I'm really bad about medical things, and I get very nauseous and tend to throw up. And I was scared of what would happen with all of that. So I really didn't want to have it done, and we never had it done. And then my orthodontist just kind of gave up on me and took my braces off and was like, "Here's a retainer, goodbye." And so I didn't know how long to wear it, when to wear it, or like what to do, how to take care of it.
So you just stopped.
Well, I wore it for like a while, and then I started wearing it at night because I was asking my friends, and they had all had braces. And then I only wore it at night, but then it would give me a funky taste in my mouth, and I hated it. So I kind of lost it when I went off to college.
And that was that?
That was that.
But do you care?
A little bit. I mean, I wish my teeth were a little straighter. My bottom ones are they've gotten all messed up, and...
Does it kind of bother you, but not enough to do anything about it?
Maybe someday in the future I'll do Invisalign.
See, when you mentioned the jaw surgery thing, you reminded me. So the orthodontist that I went to did all this work on my teeth over the course of however many years, and it all came undone, and he felt bad about it, and he said, what I'm going to do, he said, you really need to have this jaw surgery, because they had done the thing where like they try to fix it with like the crazy headgear with the rubber bands and junk, and it had actually fixed it. And then I kept growing.
You grew in.
Yeah, because when I started all this crap, I was like 10. When I was 13, I grew like 6 inches in 3 months, and my hair changed color. I went like reverse Goku. So, like that. I went from Super Saiyan back to normal Steven. So all that stuff happened, and all the stuff came undone, and they said, well, if you get the jaw surgery, we will take all the money that you've put in towards the orthodontic stuff so far and apply all of that towards your jaw surgery, which is really a heck of a deal.
Yeah.
And my parents,
because it was a lot.
Yeah, and my parents, really urged me to do that, but I think I was...
You were just done.
I was done. I mean, really, when it came down to it, I was done. And I didn't care. And you know what? I still don't care. It's one of those things that I understand that it bothers different people differently. Some people, they smile in the mirror and they say, my teeth are crooked and it bothers me and I got to do something about it. It's something that means a lot to them. And if that's fine, if that's you, then, that's fine. But I'm not that person. I smile and my teeth are crooked. I get some weird stuff going on. My two front teeth are held together with a metal bar. This tooth, I guess right here, is a freaking molar. Like, when I went to the dentist in Colombia, the lady that did my teeth was so excited because she had read about it and never seen one before in dentistry school. And she was like, oh my God, I've never seen one of these before. And it really is. It's crazy. It's like it looks like this. It's wacky. It's kind of like a molar.
Yeah.
My bottom teeth are crooked. There's a bunch of weird stuff going on. But I just don't care. It's not something that bothers me. And I mean, I am an entertainer. I'm in front of a camera every day, and it's just something that doesn't affect how I feel about myself. So I elected not to get the surgery done, and I don't regret it. I mean, pure and simple. Maybe I should have had it done because it would have saved ultimately a ton of money, but really I saved more money by not having it done. So no regrets.
You reminded me of one more thing.
Yeah.
When I said that my orthodontist kind of gave up and was like, whatever. Mm-hmm. Like, they never even finished taking the cement off my teeth. Because
But that was fun.
The first time I went into a dentist after that, they were like, wow, there's a lot of cement on your teeth from your braces, and they spent some time getting it off. And even now when I go in, there's still some they get off.
Wow. And that was like 10 years ago? I'm sorry. Yeah. Like, that was a bad experience. I mean, my experience with the orthodontic person or whatever was good. He was a nice guy, and I mean, I didn't have any problem doing it. And I mean, God knows my teeth were probably far more mangled and stuff before I ever started it. But the jaw surgery for me was the line. It was like, you know what? I appreciate how far I've come, and I appreciate that, my teeth do look better, but ultimately, that's not me. Like, I'm not bothered by that. Some people are, but I'm not that person, and I don't care to have this done.
And it hurt.
Yeah, and it's
and like, you'd have all these little like rough spots from where like it poked you in the back, and like when you get your spacers in first, so they can get the bands on your molars. Mm-hmm. When they put my spacers in, like, I cried for like 2 days because it was so bad and it hurt so much.
Oh yeah, I remember whenever I first started.
Every time they did the adjustments, like, I had the teething gel they put on babies, and I would just wear it all the time because it hurt so much.
I remember when I first had that headgear, there was a thing that went in the roof of your mouth, and you did it while you slept, and there was a key. You had to put a key in it and turn it.
Yeah, I never had headgear.
And I had to take aspirin 30 minutes before I ever put that on, because when you did that, it affected your mouth. It like felt like it was going in your brain. You got bad headaches, and I had to take aspirin before bed every night when I was, I don't know how old, in order to sleep, because I would get these terrible headaches. So yeah, looking back on it, I mean,
I have another story. You know, the rubber bands that go like top to bottom?
Yeah. I
never had those, and like all my friends would have them, and they'd have their little baggy rubber bands.
Yeah.
I had to have one from the outside top to the inside bottom. Like, okay. It went like in between my teeth, and I like would chew on it.
Yeah.
And they first put it on, they showed me how, and they were like, here you go, here's a little baggie. Mm-hmm. And I get out to the car, and I'm reading it, and the top of my file said latex allergy in bright red.
Yeah.
And I read the little baggie, and I was just kind of like, what's this say? And it was like, not for people with latex allergies, and I ran back in there, and I was like, you take care of this now.
Yeah.
Because I would have ended up in the hospital.
Yeah, Mao has a latex allergy, if you didn't know. And honestly, I've only ever met 2 people that have latex allergies. One is Mao, and one is my mom. Those are the only 2 people I've ever met that have allergic reactions to latex, which means that a room full of balloons is no longer fun but a death trap. But anyway.
We can move on now.
Yeah, we were on that question for a long time, but there's probably a lot of people out there that do have braces, so they probably appreciated our responses to this question. And if you have braces, it sucks. It totally sucks. I was there for many years, and the only, I guess, solace I have in that is, you know, it does get better. They come off. Of course, in my case, all of the work was undone and things were bad. Hopefully that won't happen to you. All right, and our final question is one that has been asked a lot. It's been asked every single Q&A for at least a year, and it has consistently, as far as I can remember, been the highest rated comment on every Q&A. In fact, on the last one, it had like 100 or nearly 100. And it is a question from TheKubliest, aka our friend Haley, and it just simply says, who is your favorite friend and why is it me? Haley,
we're here to answer your question today.
You are our favorite friend. Mal will tell you why.
Because.
Good answer. And that is it for the Q&A today. Thank you so much for watching. If you have a question that you would like to ask, you can do so in the comments down below. Before you ask it,
check the frequently asked question Q&A frequently question list.
It was done with expertise, Mal. There is a link down in the description below. You can click. It'll show you all the questions that have ever been asked. You can click it and read them,
I don't know what you call things.
I don't know what I call it either. I just know it's a link. There's a link down there. Click it. It'll tell you stuff. We had a lot of fun doing this Q&A, and I look forward to doing ones in the future. And I'm mostly excited that things are caught up. The next Q&A may not come out on time. There's a trip coming up real soon, and we may not have vlogs caught up by the time the next Q&A comes out, but dang, I'm gonna try hard. I promise. I'm gonna try real hard.
Because it's gonna be exciting. Good vlogs.
It's gonna be really exciting. Also, did you see him wearing the shirt? I just realized. I don't always order my own shirts, but I really liked what I designed, and I was like, that's a cool shirt. I like what I made. I'm gonna order this, so I ordered it. I may also get the Two Sons, Don't Tread on My Two Sons Ever Again shirt that I made. There's a store. You go see it. It's neat. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.